We are back. Thanks for staying with us. You know, every Thursday we bring you everything in form of art. And right now we're about to review our book. And with us is, we have with us Mrs. Princess Adebisi Adeniji, and of course, Mr. Steve Olugbolahan Kuku. So they wrote this book, The Real First Church. It's a compendium of facts and history as to which is the actual first built Christian church in Nigeria. So this book basically has all the historical facts of the first church that was built in Nigeria. You are welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, Ma.
Thank you.
Yes, Ma. So first off, Ma, I would like to ask you, what inspired you to write this book?
Thank you very much. No, the book was, was written just to commemorate my 70th birthday.
Oh, okay.
In December 2029. The church I wrote the book about was built in 1839.
Yes, Ma.
Whereas the church, the Anglican church in Abeokuta, was built in 1842. You know, there is a gap of good 4 years. And probably because this book, the first church was built by an African, a Nigerian, and a Guman. Probably that was why it was hidden. And there is another church in Badagry.
Badagry, yes.
That's one.
Which, according to the books, it is the first.
It isn't.
Yes.
It isn't the first. That one too was built in 1842 in December. The Abeokuta church was built just 3 months ahead, you know, September to December. So September comes first.
Yes, ma'am.
That is why the Egba people are claiming the first church. But this one was built in 1839. 4 years.
So it was important to bring this knowledge to
the people, for people to know that there is a church hidden somewhere in a very remote village.
Does this church still exist?
Very well.
And people still attend
very well.
Church?
Yes.
Great. So first off, we talked about here Onashokun.
Onoshokun.
Thank you, ma. Administrator and envoy of the Oyo Empire in the Dahomey province.
Yes.
So we already had a movie that was released last year that sort of gave us a glimpse of the Dahomey people. Yes. Okay. And here you sort of, broke it down and you explained quite a lot about the Onoshokun and his marriage to his Egun wife and how all of that went. So this question will go to you, sir. Kindly tell us more about Onoshokun.
Okay. When I was watching the movie you just referred to, the Woman King.
The Woman King.
I was getting some nostalgia.
Oh, really?
Concerning our work.
Okay.
And the story of the Woman King is very related to the story of this book. Is. Okay, so that movie gives credence to the fact that, yes, in those days, the pre-colonial days, the Oyo Empire encroached into Dahomey land.
Yes.
The Egun people were being governed by de facto rulers from the Oyo Empire. Now, it so happens that my ancestor, from my mother, happened to be the one sent from the Oyo Empire to administer the Egun province. It was more like colonialism before the Europeans came. We had our system. We had our government. We had our empires. We had the way we expanded. We had our culture. And so what happened then was that Onoshokun was a prince from Oyo sent to oversee that area. And that was how he settled there and all of that. His descendants continued with that title until the colonialists came and wiped out that history. Now, we don't want the history to be wiped out.
And that's why it's in this book
as well.
And
that's why we have written all the details in the book.
So now, quickly, because we are still talking about Prince Onoshokun, right? Yes. The question now is, his is he really the first native Christian missionary in Nigeria?
Okay, let me take that. It is not Onoshokun that is the native missionary.
Okay.
It is his son.
Okay.
Sotin.
That was from the Egun, from his marriage to the
Yes.
Egun.
The product
Of
the
his
marriage between
him
Onoshoku and the Egun woman.
Exactly. So Sotin is the guy who met Batch Freeman. Everybody knows Batch Freeman.
Reverend Batch Freeman.
In history.
Yes.
He was a British preacher.
Yes.
That was
introduced
one of the pioneers of Christianity.
Yes.
Across the West African coastline. Okay? So when he arrived at Port Novo back then, he met with, is it me or she now? He met with our ancestor, the Sotin guy now.
Yes.
Sotin is the son of Onoshokun. Okay? Onoshokun is in the history because he's the one that came direct from Oyo to administer the area. So we get the story now.
Yeah.
So Batch Freeman met with Sotin, and for some reason, the people didn't accept Christianity. He had to flee. So Sotin, as a friend, they had become friends, and Sotin gave him refuge at our village, Itohon. Okay? So he gave him refuge at Itohon. They stayed there a bit, and at that time, Batch Freeman must have administered Christianity to Sotin. Okay? So Batch Freeman, not long after that, left for Ghana. So all the history the Europeans gave us was about Batch Freeman's work at Ghana.
In Ghana, not in Nigeria.
He later came to Nigeria in 1842 when they called for, like, what they call in Christianity, the Macedonian call. Some slaves came in and they wanted Christianity. They wrote a letter. Then the British people now said, okay, Batch Freeman is in Ghana, send him down to Badagry. So that happened again 3 years after in 1842. But he first landed at Tohon when he fled Port Novo.
Because the people of Port Novo, they did not accept him. They drove him, that was the Sotin gave him refuge. Okay, let me take you to a safer place. Then he introduced Christianity to him. I think as soon as the church building started, he left immediately and went to Ghana.
Now let's talk about the first Methodist church that was, that was built in Badagry in 1842. Mama,
thank you very much. Batch Freeman knew that he had somewhere
where he could find refuge in Itohon.
So he went back to Tohon. He and the Sotin, they went together to the site of this present Methodist church. So Badagry.
In Badagry.
That's one that was built in 1842. They went there together to lay the foundation. Some people from Lagos Island, some people went with them too. So they laid the foundation. Then Batch Freeman stayed with them a little bit. I think that is the reason they now want to showcase that church as the first Methodist church, which is not true. The real one is in Tohon, that was built in 1839.
Okay. Here you also highlighted so much about Thomas Batch Freeman. I mean, it's as if you all went deep into his life. You talked about, his personal life. You talked about the financial issues that he experienced. Quickly to run through that to us.
Yeah, I'm glad you did your research very well on the book. I'm very happy about that. Thank you. You see, the whole story of this book could just have been one page. All we wanted to tell the world that the church built in Abeokuta in September 1842 is not the actual first church in Nigeria. The actual first church on the shores of Nigeria, within the boundaries and borders of Nigeria, was built in 1839 in my mother's village, Tohon. So that is all that needed to be said. So how do I write a whole book saying this statement I just said? So we had to delve into
Thomas
the story of
Freeman's
Bach Freeman, the story of my great-great-grandfather, the story of the Oyo Empire, how they governed this, and all of that. So, Bach Freeman was a British missionary that was very passionate about Africa because I think one of his parents was African. His father was an African slave in Britain.
You know what?
Yeah.
There's so much to learn about Thomas Bach Freeman that
Yes.
I don't think we have enough time because there was so much you said here in the book, and I think people need to go and buy the book.
Yes.
If you want to learn more about Thomas Bach Freeman, the first African church that was built here in Nigeria, and of course more about the Itonhan. Yes, people, thank you so much for coming on the show today and for sharing this with us. We appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.